Hi, I'm Diana, and I'm sitting here with Managing Partner Sandra Ziskant and Toronto Police Officer Sean Shapiro. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.
Oh, man, we like having you on because you get all the answers. Today, we're talking about the big one, stunt driving.
Maybe we should start off explaining what exactly it is, because I think people don't actually know.
So when you say stunt driving, most people think 50 kilometers over the posted limit.
Right.
And there's actually way, way more. I watched someone do something yesterday that was stunt, and you would never guess it. We'll see if you know about it. So here's the basics. 50 kilometers over if the speed limit is 80 and above. 40 kilometers over the posted limit if it's under 80, and 150 anywhere. So if you're on a stretcher road that's 110, doing 40 over is stunt driving.
Wow.
And that's just the speed related one, because what I saw yesterday on the road was someone who was waiting to make a left turn at the lights. As soon as it went green, they hit the gas and they turned left before traffic was able to go. That's stunt driving.
I hate when people do that. I hate
Call it
that.
the jackrabbit start. It's absolutely stunt driving, and people go, "Well, what?" They don't want to accept that as stunt driving. Either way, they get charged, and bad things happen. But there's other things like driving with someone in the trunk of your car.
Why would anybody do that?
I think it was a drive-in movies thing originally,
Sometimes
but
when kids act up, you just
put them somewhere quiet
Right.
space, time out. It's against the law. What else? Not being in the driver's seat. You know, people move into the passenger seat to do silliness. I don't understand why.
Right.
But this is also stunt driving. What else is stunt driving? Taking any wheel off the car, off the ground. You know, doing a wheelie.
Like doing donuts.
donuts. Those are absolutely stunt driving. So there's about 15 different triggers.
like there's actually stunt driving that you see in movie stunt driving, and then there's like stunt driving or speeding.
Stunt driving in a
things.
closed set for the purposes of film where they have permits is, yes, a stunt, but it doesn't qualify for charges.
Yeah.
So, a marked departure of the roadway when someone is, zipping through and just going so much faster than everybody else, that kind of behavior could be stunt driving, or it generally is. Lane splitting, when motorcycles, you see this on the highway a lot in the summer, where a motorcycle is just taking the bullet train in between two lanes of traffic.
Yes, that drives me
I'm
crazy.
super jealous of them when they do it, though.
Yeah,
I gotta be honest.
but it drives me crazy.
I'm sitting there, I'm waiting.
No, it's so
very
dangerous.
If you go to California, it's legal there, no problem. But when you do it in Toronto, we've had so many tragic
It's so
results.
dangerous. It's so dangerous. I know
It's
it's
so
so
dangerous.
dangerous. So when you're sitting there in traffic, it's been an hour and a half, and you see somebody just zipping through, and you're like, God.
In
Jealousy,
Europe,
yes.
you see it a lot too with the little scooters that go in between.
All of it.
But that's why they have so many scooter accidents that result in death, because it's so unsafe.
It's chaotic, I'm assuming. Yeah.
I don't trust people just driving in a car. Now you put a motorcycle in between two cars. The two drivers are probably on their cell phone.
Correct.
Something is going to happen. And sadly, a cyclist, as much as they may be responsible for doing that speed between cars, is going to wear it. Like, I remember going to a collision where somebody maybe lost a portion of a leg that we had to find down the street because, they did stupid things, and they
Right.
found out that they had bad things happen.
I feel like stunt driving is something new, yeah? Like what sparked it all?
I don't think it was. I think it's new. I think
No, it was like,
because
I don't know,
anytime
50 thing, you're
the minute
carving
they
it
started
down.
doing these things in the movies, which is forever.
Fast and the
Fast and
Furious.
Furious. I wonder if
Yes.
that actually related to an actual release or change, but they're having changes. Like it used to be 7 days impound, and what was it?
It was always a thing doing 50 over?
50 over was they changed it to the 40 over. That was a change in
okay.
2021 or 2020. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But there have been some changes to it. And one of those things was the increase of the administrative penalties. So now it's a 30-day suspension and a 14-day vehicle impound. And I just did the math on this. When you start talking about the fence, just for the towing and impound, you're looking at $1,500 with tax. And that's before you pay a fine, and the fines are $2,000 to $10,000.
Wow.
It comes with a 1 to 3 year prohibition of driving on conviction for the first offense. The second time it goes from 1 to 3 to 3 to 10. On your third conviction, it's a lifetime ban. Each conviction comes with up to 6 months in jail. Now, I can't say that those are regularly handed out, but you have people doing really wild and crazy things on the road. It's just so incredibly unsafe, and it's not being taken seriously. So they keep upping the consequences.
Can people fight these tickets?
You can fight whatever you want. Doesn't mean you're going to win. Doesn't I can't speak to what the court does, but we lay the charges.
Yeah, and by the way, every idiot that sits there and says, I'm going to get off in a technicality because my buddy's friend's uncle, stop. Stop. You're just not. I mean, it happens from time to time, but you're not. And Sean's right. I've seen cases with stunt driving with horrible consequences, death. I remember I had a case once where a middle-aged guy was racing his car on a deserted country road, hit another car. Both cars went into flames. Everyone died. Everyone died. I mean, you just can't play around with vehicles this way.
3 cars racing on a city street. 2 of them got through the intersection. The third one lost control, hit a guy in a bus stop, took his legs off. I mean, these are just real things that are happening every single day.
Right.
And just because they don't all make the news doesn't mean they're not happening. And people think that, we should build them more tracks so they can go flex and feel, the full effect of their Speedo, at work. The truth is there's opportunities to take it to the track. You can go to MoSport, the Canadian Tire track. You can go there and pay a $50 fee on certain days and go take it to the track where they have paramedics and tow.
And by the way, you're not supposed to be doing it. There's like the stunt drivers and the race car drivers, who, by the way, still get injured, are trained to do it. Just like not everyone should have a gun unless you're trained to use it. Right. There are certain things, just because it looks cool, it doesn't mean you have to do it.
I gotta be honest, when that Fast and the Furious thing, I grew up in Woodbridge, Ontario. When that Fast and the Furious series came out, the very first one, everybody gunned it to the parking lot. I was waiting for my mom to come pick me up, and cars were just swirling all over that lot. I was just like, please, Mom, get in the parking lot safe. Please, Mom, get in the parking lot safe. It was insane.
I'm
and that's
so glad that you mentioned parking lots, because changes to the law have come into play, and parking lots are now covered by the Highway Traffic Act for the purposes of the enforcement of HTA. So we had something called takeovers. Takeovers are these wild and youthful people were taking to the streets. They'd have lookouts, they'd block roads, and pedestrians would come. They'd all watch the antics, and people would do these,
exactly like Fast and the Furious.
They would do these road closures and do the stunt driving in the intersections. Well, because the enforcement cracked down, they said, well, we'll just take it to the parking lots. Yeah. Well, because there was so much damage being done to property and so many people being injured, the law was changed to accommodate and include private property. And that means anywhere other than racetracks, go-kart tracks, and permanent events like Honda Indy.
Can you still lay a charge in a parking lot in that case? And you can still do something with that if somebody's injured in that
100%.
case? Because I always thought that what you do in a parking lot, if you got into like a collision in a parking lot, it's okay.
No.
Not okay, but you know what I mean? Like nobody's going to get charged, nothing's going to happen. You just go through your own insurance and yada, yada.
Not only are we charging for Highway Traffic Act offenses of stunt driving, we're also charging criminally for dangerous driving. Yes. And if you look at jurisdictions like York Region, they've implemented bylaws with fines up to $10,000 in relation to this. Because if you're hosting the event and you're causing people to come out here and do this and put lives at risk, you're now going to be financially, followed.
You said that a couple times, dangerous and careless. Can you quickly just give me a breakdown? What's the difference between them?
Careless is under the HTA, 6 demerit points, I think it's $495.
Highway Traffic Act.
Highway Traffic Act.
Yes.
Provincial offense, not criminal. You talk about stunt driving, that is a provincial charge that deals with the behaviors we discussed. It is Highway Traffic Act, not criminal. So if you're convicted, it goes in your driver's license record, not your criminal record. Whoa. So that doesn't stop you from entering the United States, whereas a criminal charge they'd be able to reject you. Your traveling days might be limited. Wow. But criminal could be just from speeding. So stunt driving may also include a dangerous driving charge.
Speeding is a criminal charge?
Depending on how fast you're going. Are you knowingly putting lives at risk?
Fair.
Well, think about it this way. You're driving in the car with 2 little kids in the back seat that are not properly strapped in, and you're speeding at an excessive rate. That's dangerous driving, and you're potentially causing harm.
And either way, your insurance company will eviscerate you? What was the word?
Eviscerating might be a little...
They won't eviscerate you. That's not Star Wars. They don't come with their lightsaber and then you're gone. They vitiate.
It's a good word.
They vitiate, not under the Highway Traffic Act, but any criminal conviction vitiates your policy, which means the policy is now, they have a basis for denial, and they can then limit your policy.
But you have insurance companies that I understand can cancel or fail to cover you for modifications of your vehicle. You tint your windows too much, they might choose to void your claim. They'll cover you for certain things, but they won't. They're doing the Vichy thing.
Nobody's going to eviscerate you. No, you're not going to die. No, Intact doesn't come in and say,
So let's say it's taking place on the highway. I'm curious about the highway stuff, right? Because I was driving once and
thank God it's back to Diana.
I told you it's back to me. Always back to me. I was telling you on the phone, I had to overtake a vehicle. So, you got to go a little bit. And I want to say something, Sean, before you judge me. A long time ago, I was driving exactly 100 in the left lane and a police officer pulled me over and he said, "What the hell are you doing?" And I said, "I was just driving the speed limit. I don't understand." He goes, "This is for passing." He's like, "You pass and then you go into the left." So
yeah,
right.
That officer was a little bit incorrect. I understand where he's at.
Getting out of Michigan.
Well, so the deal is that speed limits are the limits for all lanes. There is no speed limit excess or permission to pass.
Okay.
That said, we know that people are going over the limit, and we want slower traffic to stay to the right because the speeder is going to do dangerous things to get around you whilst angry and putting more lives at risk. So if you're going to do the speed limit, if you're going to go below the speed limit, stay to the right, center lane, right lane, whatever the case may be, but stay out of the left because that's where we want to focus our efforts for speed enforcement.
Also that. Yeah.
Also that.
Stay out of the left lane.
But truthfully, I mean, we know that people are on average doing 120 to 140 on the highway. It's ridiculous. And we're obviously focused on the highest, most egregious speeds. We're still giving people tickets for going lower.
Okay.
So do the right thing, stay to the right. I often say that my drive to work looks like the Star Wars intro in reverse because I'm the one and the lights are going the other way. Right? I'm not passing through that light speed. So the whole deal on the highway, which by the way, highway is any road in Ontario. People talk about highway thinking it's the expressway.
Right.
It's any road.
Oh, what?
Yes.
There's not just a highway and a city
And a road? They're all highways according to law.
Okay. Then
That's
that
why
brings me to
Highway Traffic Act.
Okay.
Right.
But, I just thought the Traffic Act was for like the highway was the highway and then the city roads are city roads.
The expressway or parkway is a controlled access highway. It's a highway with limitations and restrictions as to who can use it. So you can't be a pedestrian or cyclist on the controlled access highway.
Do you know I was 8 years old when I found that out? I just thought, okay. So wait, going back, wow, I feel really stupid right now. Anyways, okay, so I was overtaking the vehicle. Let's say hypothetically, which I wasn't, I swear. Let's say hypothetically you had to drive a little bit faster, and then let's say there's a police officer nearby, and they book you for stunt driving. But let's say, I don't know, is it an OPP officer? If I'm on the highway where pedestrians can't be, not the
So the expressway, 401. We'll say 401. It's
the highway 401. If I was doing that, could they ping me for it?
Yes.
Yeah.
You are eligible for a speeding ticket because you were speeding, regardless of why you were speeding.
Not for the overtaking part.
Overtaking, going straight, just because it's Sunday, whatever the case may be. If you are recorded at a speed, you are eligible for a ticket for that speed.
And anybody can ticket me?
So if a Toronto police officer is on the 401 and they happen to be, marking for speed and they get you for an offense, we are sworn for the province of Ontario. Generally speaking, we're not conducting enforcement in other people's backyards, but we're often in York Region. If we happen to see something, we're going to do something. Now, if we're in Durham, that's a little further, we may not be doing things.
So you can still get somebody for stunt driving, Toronto police officer on the highway 401.
Sure.
And his charge will stick with you? Ms.
Yeah,
Lawyer?
listen, for Miss Lawyer. First of all, whatever Sean does in my books will stick. Sean's the best, so I have no issue with that. Look, for us also, when we're looking at a case and taking a case, whichever side was charged is more likely at fault. And even if they're not convicted, so charges by police officers, again, because police officers' words in this situation are like really like God is testifying. If we see that, then we know basically that our client is not going to be able to be successful in a motor vehicle accident claim.
Most of the time, people assume that we're laying charges because there's belief that there is a free toaster for the most number of tickets written.
Right.
We get a vacation.
There's not.
There is no quota. We don't have an obligation to
I
charge.
thought there was a quota. For a long time, I thought there was a quota.
I've been with the service 24 years, never been a quota, but that I've been around. I've never found a service that has a quota.
Look, Sean, you
not
have to
even
get
a
100
bonus.
arrests.
And I don't get a commission, which is really sad because boy, I'd be doing okay.
Yeah.
So the deal is with tickets, we're laying charges based on the evidence available, and very often we won't be able to lay a charge because there's no clear prospect for conviction. We have nobody that shifts the balance. If you say it's the other person's fault and they say it's your fault, and we have pretty much down the middle, I can't pin it on one person or the other. There may be a situation where I actually don't charge anybody.
And then it's up to me to figure out who's at fault.
And again, we lay charges, but insurance companies and the courts determine at the end of the day what is the final result.
And stunt driving is probably one of the top of the
Stunt driving for sure, but I can tell you officers, because officers like Sean that have so much experience and they've been doing this for so long, when they lay a charge or when they give an opinion about a case, it's meaningful to whether we're moving ahead with a tort claim.
Right. Wow. I learned a lot today, yet again. I feel like my mind's a little blown. Perhaps going 50 over at this moment with all the information I've absorbed. There you have it. You heard it from an officer of the law himself and a lawyer that represents people in car accidents. Stunt driving. It's a very, very serious, heavy charge. You can create havoc and chaos for people all around you. Wherever you're going, don't do it. Wherever you're going, leave ahead of time. Be on time. And that way, everyone can arrive alive, if you will.